testing inside bread, oil. We'll be talking about that book in Pidgin on YouTube because everybody's talking about it in English. So let's have it in Pidgin English. So someone who's watching that video should understand a little bit about what I mean. Oh my God, he's giving me that look. I shouldn't have told them, but I mean, like, I told you I was going to ask you questions like this.
We're in the part of the world where we underestimate mental health and the importance of mental health. You find that we get to a point where we feel things that we feel, but we're too afraid to accept what it actually is. There was a time in my life that I came to that conclusion that I wasn't, and I needed to see a therapist. Yeah, I went to therapy. I was in therapy for about 6 months, and so I just managed it better now. But it wasn't the book.
Oh, sorry. I was worried. I thought it was actually the book. Because I was thinking, it was really that dark for you to get to that point where you feel
it was a hard book to write. Yeah, it was a hard book to write.
It was a hard book to read.
To read too? Yes. I don't know about this.
It's not usually top time. What's going on?
I didn't draw from the experiences of one person. I drew from experiences of a lot of people. I drew from my own experiences, and I was at some point had to rely on my imagination. And the question about is Peter you? I am very lucky that I was able to finish writing this book, and I'm very lucky that Chuku Neta happens to be a writer in the book, and I'm very lucky that I don't need to think before I answer this question. I'm just going to steal from one of the things she said when she was asked a similar question during one of her book readings. So I'm just going to pick it.
Have you observed how his answers are very guided answers? You know, like when you go for an interview and they ask you what are your core strengths, you have to be trying to read all those things we watch on YouTube. I know, we watch all those things to prepare for that interview, so that's what you're doing now. And I was hoping and praying you wouldn't do this thing. Like, lift what?
I have to lift. I have to lift. Neta said something, I just have to. I don't need to stress myself again.
Lagos.
So Neta said that when you're writing fiction, you get to that point where the line between fiction and reality blurs. And at some point, a part of you might fall off. And it might fall on a passing subplot, or on one of the pages, or even on a character. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the character has become you. So if you find a in Peter, it doesn't mean that Peter is me. Peter.
Oh wow, he almost got me convinced, right? But Peter went to Unison. He went to Unison. Peter grew up in Aba. He grew up in Aba, a university. I don't know what football club Peter belongs to. And then, let me shock you. And while I was asking whether Peter was you, there is a Mr. Sweet, who I'm thinking, is that High Chief Peter Obi? Okay. You didn't think I was going to go there?
I need to talk about that one. Peter went to Unizik and I went to Unizik. And but the circumstances around Peter's growing up are a little different from mine. So there is a Mr. Sweet. And when you, it's interesting because I'm happy that
It's not really.
it's interesting. I'm happy that people actually read to the point of reading my acknowledgement. So High Chief Peter Obi happens to be my uncle, like my father's cousin, and he's just an amazing man. When I first came to Lagos, I was staying with them. They housed me, and the interesting thing was I was staying at the boys' quarters, and they didn't stress me. I was 7, work was taking everything, but nobody stressed me. So it wasn't one of those houses where you're under pressure or you're stressed. They just found a way to just leave me in my state. And the children, too, amazing people. But when you have someone who is extremely, when you have someone who is extremely wealthy and also that good to you, you struggle to find ways to pay them back. So the little things you can do, you can't buy anything for him. The little things you can do to show them that I remember everything you did for me, and I love you, even if I don't get to express it much. I don't see him all the time, but he's an amazing man, has an amazing family, and this lady over there, she's already hiding, but that happens to be a daughter of High Chief Peter Obi.
Oh wow! Thank you so much. Everyone, please, a round of applause.
The family I don't joke with. Wow. I don't joke with them.
Wow! Thank you so much.
I know that I'm reading this part under duress.
Come on.
I don't know what it's here, funny enough, but I'm being pressured to read it, so I'll just go on. Thank you, Netta. Let me get a drink for you. What do you want? Should I get Coke? This is the conversation between Netta and her mother's cousin, Auntie Chidinma. Water, Auntie. I don't feel like drinking Coke. Auntie Chidinma walked into the kitchen and returned with a glass full of water. What about Jetta? She asked as she dropped the glass on the table in front of Netta. I am sorry that I have not asked about him. She took her seat beside Netta. How is he? He's good, Auntie. He's good. He told me he met you at your shop, that you directed him to my place. Yes, I did. I froze when I saw him. I didn't know what to say to him. He was not looking healthy. I had planned to visit you to see him. How is he? He's fine, Auntie. He just needs to recover. How is he mentally? Hope prison did not change him. I don't understand why they put that boy away for that long, for a mistake he made as a child. Then it struck Netta that her opportunity had arrived. She needed to start speaking now. Of course, it did change him. Prison always changes people. She drank from the glass on the table, finishing the contents in one draught, and sighed, gathering courage for the next words she knew she was going to say. He's no longer that small boy he used to play games with. And Chidinma smiled, her face tingling with nostalgia. Those days we used to run around the house and play hide and seek. Good old days. I am not talking about hide and seek, Netta said, her voice shaking and rising. I'm not talking about that stupid game. I'm talking about touch me, I touch you. Do you remember that one, Auntie? Auntie Chidinma's eyes narrowed and her face tightened. No, I don't know what that is.
I need a minute.
I don't know what that is. I don't know.
I really do need a minute. This is the time where usually I would have walked out to Musa. But I'm thinking of children whose lives have forever been destroyed by things like this. In this passage, it's not a thing. That's the wrong way to even describe it. Experiences like this that will make them so messed up for the rest of their lives, and you wonder, why is this person this way? And some of us are lucky to get therapy to overcome our abuse. Some of us don't, and then we now turn out to be, I don't call it nuisance or irritants to society, but then you can understand why certain people behave the way they do. Some don't want to be in relationships because they don't know if they can ever trust themselves around members of the opposite sex, or even members of the same sex. And it leads me to that question that everyone, I'm sure, wants to ask. Do you think it was wrong for Edna to bring him a cousin into the mix in the first place? Looking at this passage you just read.
She wasn't wrong. It wasn't wrong to bring in her cousin to help her out. But I think there are a lot of lessons to be learned for Edna. And can you hear me?
Yes. Can we all hear him from the back?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There are a lot of lessons to be learned from Edna. And I think one of her major problems was how trusting she was towards Chidinma. She trusted Chidinma with everything, and would even tell the children, always listen to Auntie Chidinma, do everything she says. And it could also be, you could also say that, sometimes we forget that we bring children into this world. We forget that they are solely our responsibility. Because, Edna had her banking job, and the husband as well. Of course, they needed help. And we brought it to the woman. So, I don't know, she was just too trusting, and then she missed a lot of things, you could say.
I wouldn't say so, and I beg to differ at this point. If you remember, there's a passage in the book, for those of us who've read the book, where Jipora said something. Like he doesn't like their closeness. This is their father. I'm sorry for the spoiler. This is their father expressing that reservation. And of course, when I first read it, I'm like, bro, calm down. It's not that deep. These are your kids, I did not know what the man was saying. And he said it not once, he said it twice. So I don't want to say you are defending Edna's ignorance because, she's related to this person who came in and did what she did. But she was warned. And this is a mother, and this is your husband trying to say there's something about this closeness between these children that I'm not very comfortable about. I just felt,
as a writer, you learn not to judge your characters, but that doesn't mean you're defending them, right? Edna had her flaws. And, I said she missed something.
Yes.
She missed a lot of things. When the husband was even suspecting or thinking that something was off, she made him think that he was being ridiculous in whatever assumption he was growing up. So I'm not defending Edna. I'm just trying to say that we're all humans, and the number one thing about humans is that we are incredibly flawed.
So are you speaking for yourself? Is this a sign from the DJ? Not to say the next thing I want to say. It won't work. Anyways, so are you speaking for yourself or you are speaking for Edna, your character? Because it's like you're still doing what I said you're doing now.
I'm speaking for
other speech about.
I'm speaking for humanity. Voice of humanity.
These writers and all this English. The next thing you're going to talk about spoonerism. What was even that one about?
Spoonerism.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so define what it meant in the book.
Okay, I didn't. Oh.
He gave an example. It was all honesty.
I wrote this book in 6 years. I wrote this book from 2014 to 2020, and for two reasons. Reason number one was because I have a job that wants to take everything. So you find yourself not writing a piece that ordinarily you would have written at. Reason number two, it was supposed to be a big. By the time I was done, it was 700 and something pages. So I brought it to Asafi, and they said, no, you need to cut it. Go and look for something to cut. I read through the manuscript and it wasn't possible. I couldn't see anything that I could cut out. So they did something interesting because the book was originally in 3 parts. Part 1, 2, 3. So they took part 2. No, so that part 2 is their lives when they were in school. Like when you read the book, you will find a summary. I think chapter 8 was like a summary of that school part. So they cut it out. That school part is like another book that's going to come out later. And when you read that, you understand Netta and Peter's relationship more, because when they were in school, Peter was that boy that when he started going out with Netta, he improved a lot in a lot of things. And Netta in the book, the writer, you find that she was always fond of correcting his spoken English, and was always fond of teaching him something. So spoonerism in English is a common error that we all make. Like when you're talking, you want to say something like I want to have that part of my life back. You find yourself saying something like, I want to have that pack of my life back.
Okay.
It's a common error that we all make. So that is what's called spoonerism. I think that's what she asked me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I like how you stylishly shifted from talking about the definition, but okay, I'll let that slide for now.
Give me an example, so I think they all get it.
People can do to talk through whatever that experience has been like in therapy. So why was it that input descriptive? What was the point?
It was a very difficult part of the book for me to write, but it was the ending part, and endings and beginnings of books have to be strong. When I finished writing the book, the first person to read the draft, that very first draft, someone called Uzoma. I don't know if Uzoma is here.
Is Uzoma here? By show of hand, I think Uzoma is shy.
She's outside.
Is she here?
Uzoma is outside?
Yeah.
No, there's a seat here. Uzoma,
Uzoma, please come in. You wrote this book with him, please.
Uzoma, please come in. Come and sit here.
And tell her.
Uzoma studied English and literature in Unizig. So the first person that, because that's what I usually do, when I'm done writing, I just give the first manuscript to someone who knows it all, read and tell me what to think. When she was done reading the book, she had concerns about the ending part. He said, "Oh, but this is too descriptive. They will come for you." got scared. I said, okay, no problems. So this is the Ozoma coming. Ozoma, what are you doing there? Ozoma. Go sit there. How about sit there?
Sorry, I'm not in trouble.
You remember what you told me when you were done reading the manuscript of Some Angels Doth See God? The last part, the gang rape. Yeah, she said a lot of things about the scene, and she said it would come for me. You're coming for me. So I told the Zafi, when Zafi read the manuscript, I discussed this part with the Zafi. I said, Zafi, what do you think? Do you want me to make it less descriptive, to just turn it down a bit? And Zafi is my publisher, so I'm removing myself from this. And Azafi goes, no, I like it, it's okay that way, leave it.
No. Azafi?
Yeah, it's Azafi. She can come and defend herself.
Azafi is like, I'm coming for you next.
So that's what happened with that part. Of course, I didn't enjoy writing it, but it was that descriptive because it was the end of the book, and because it needed to leave something. It needed to leave something with the reader. And the discussion of turning it down and making it less descriptive came up because Ozoma was the first person that read the manuscript, and that was the very first thing she said when she was done reading the manuscript. But Astafi countered it, so it's not my fault, it's Astafi's fault.
Ozoma, I'm jealous. You get to read the awesome part. But thank you. Okay, so before I bring on, and I know everyone is wondering why I'm saying she's a Grammy Award winner, because the way Naomi Mark's musical journey has been, she's been singing since she was 6. But by the time I'm done reading her biography and her discography and everything, you understand why I'm excited that she happens to be the one who penned the song with this book.
Can I talk briefly?
Yes.
No song.
Okay. Okay. One house. This is the part I want to hear.
So before the book came out, I was thinking of different things to do for the book. I once listened to a song by some guy called Tikinzi, The Stranger of Braamfontein, which later, you know Tikinzi? I later learned that the song, the book by Onyeka Nwelwe, The Strangers of Braamfontein, had inspired that song, and Onyeka also, co-wrote the song.
Wow. And
I saw what Chibundo, Toba, you and I, we discussed what Chibundo did with Good Soil. Good Soil is the theme song for Sankofa.
Yes.
That was when I said to myself, I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to do something like this for my book. And now I can't sing, right? I can't sing. I wanted to get someone who can. And there's a friend of mine called Ifeanyi Opara. Ifeanyi Opara is a filmmaker, and when Nomi Mark was at The Voice, Ifeanyi was all Nomi Mark this, Nomi Mark. Check Ifeanyi's status every day. He was always talking about Nomi Mark. And I watched Nomi Mark at The Voice, and I thought she was a beautiful singer. And when the time to work on that came, I had to say, Ifeanyi, I'm trying to get across to Nomi Mark. And Ifeanyi got across to the manager, Frank. Frank is an actor and also happens to be Nomi Mark's husband. He's hanging around somewhere there. And we started trying to convince them. They didn't want to do it initially. Frank didn't, because nobody had approached him with that kind of project before. He was not decided at the beginning, but eventually they made that decision to work on it. And I wrote the song. gave it to Nomi Mark. She changed some things and composed the song, and it was just song I wrote. It was just words I wrote. With I have a younger brother somewhere there. We call him the legend. Some days he's a songwriter. He helped me a lot as well.
And please, give his flowers.
I'll give him his flowers. Legend, take your flowers. So he helped me, and when I was done writing the song, it was just words that I scribbled. Nomi Mark just took this song, and we're at the studio and working with Nomi Mark. I have to say, I'm using this opportunity to talk and say some things that I haven't really said to her. Nomi Mark was just very easy to work with. She's just a beautiful soul. She didn't give me stress, and I love the fact that she owned the song. The first time I listened to the song, I had goosebumps. I couldn't believe those were my words. It was just words that she prayed, and then she turned into a beautiful music. And when we listened to the song, we knew we had to do a video for it. We said, "Oh, we have to make a video."
And I saw that you're a video vixen.
Yeah, my debut as a video vixen. I'm doing things I haven't done before this year. I wrote a song for the first time. I did the video vixen job.
I was like, okay, come to it.
So when it was time for this video, I just felt it was just right, it was just proper, because the song captures the major themes of the book. Yeah, it captures the major themes of the book, the lyrics, and then I'm glad to have Nomi Mark just taking people through that journey with her powerful voice.
Yes, I cannot wait, because it's already on YouTube.
Yes, it got on YouTube yesterday.
Okay. How many views do we have? Because I want us to take
we have like 500 views.
Oh wow. So by the time we're leaving here, please, I want us to stream that as much as possible so we can get it to...
And subscribe as well.
Yes, and subscribe and like and share so we can get it to 1 million by the end of today. I know it's doable because Nomi Mark is that awesome. So before we bring... And maybe that's why I'm thinking of how to keep them, and I'll do it because I told Eva that I'm going to rewrite that last page and send it to you. So when you're reading something different in the reprint, that's all me. And please just run me my check, okay? So people know that I wrote that part. But this is the time that I want to bring on Nomi Mark so that we can be skipping our brain. So I feel that she's doing this beautiful 7 weeks after delivery. Give it up. Oh God.
Thank you so much. Okay, so thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be on this project. Wait, where is it? I beg now. I'm first. I will wait then. Sorry. Okay, so working on this project has been really amazing. I didn't have any challenge during this work because Eva made it so easy for me. Well, yeah, let's enjoy the song. Some Angels Don't See God by Eva Obi. DJ, please give me volume, I beg. Thank you. Can you start from top? DJ? Can you start again, please?
People often say the past don't matter, feels like an obedient part of us that we can lock away. I used to believe that when I was young and foolish, but the older one gets, the clearer it becomes. The past will be present in the future. It's like a shadow and a broken part of us. It covers me like a second skin. Feel alive, a battle I didn't win. The past keep haunting. and faith makes it heal back. Oh, I used to believe that when I was young and naive, but the older one gets, the dearer it becomes. Walking with the crowd, yet I'm lonely. My heart remains heavy, like an ocean tears from me. Oh, covers me like a second skin. Feels alive, a battle I can't win. Shadows of the past keep haunting me, even though people think I'm perfect. They call me in this jail, but some angels don't see us. Say, nobody told me that life was gonna be easy, so I'm not giving up. Got a lot of mountains to climb. This is my cross to me, and it's my time to the rich road. See, I'm not giving up. Got a lot of rivers to flow. Covers me like a second skin. Feels like a battle I can't win. Feels like a battle I can't win. They shadows of the past keep on to me. Even though people think I'm perfect, they call me an angel, just an angel. They don't see us. Thank you so much.
So when you say an angel doesn't see God, you're just saying that things are not always the way they seem. Now, if you now want to find out which character in the book, from that understanding, you now say which character in the book, you know, in inspired that title, you're going to find Chukwunetam, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to find every other person in the book that seems to be something or somehow, but then have their own, you know, darkness or whatever it is that you know is chasing them. Some angels don't see God. Figuratively is entirely figurative, and then I'm saying that things are not always the way they seem. And when I think of the character that inspired that, it is Chukwunetam. And you also know that she has a name that it's Angela. So that's the meaning of the title. That's where the title is from. Thank you.
Netam is in Angela, then he is Angela because they are twins.
Yes, so all of them they didn't see God. A lot of imperfect characters. So you could link it to each and every one of them, but majorly to Chukwunetam.
Okay. So we have Uchi gushing about the book. I was just so worried at some point that please, no spoilers, no spoilers. I need to collect my cut from this 5,000, no spoilers. Now here has this, I'm not finished reading the book. I'm like, you have read just a couple of pages and you're this excited about it. What will not happen? I'm telling you, 17 pages. What will happen when you read?
17 chapters.
17 chapters.
Yes.
Oh wow. I want your reading speed, please. We need to discuss. So, but then she talks about the Osu case system, and I know it. I'm sure everyone who is Igbo has heard about it, Umosu and all that.
Yeah.
You might not really understand the history. Get a copy of his book, and then you'll see what he did there. He did justice to it. It was short, but it was very explanatory, even for someone who wants to understand what that system is about. And then writing sex scenes. Because there was a part where Arese was asking Letta, since you want us to go there, letter how to write sex scenes. I cannot remember the particular page, and you were saying something about write, criticize, review. It's just for the book. You do understand?
And if it doesn't turn you on, don't stop writing it. You're not done yet. Once it turns you on as the writer. And that was what letter said.
They are giving away too much. Let me read it in the book. But I was trying to make an analogy.
I was just trying to use it to buttress the point you made.
Yes.
As in, from the part of the reader, if you're reading a section and then don't get turned on,
yes,
you have the right to say what
there are stages to this thing. It's one thing to get turned on. It's another thing to want to touch yourself. Even though some of us want to deceive ourselves. Oh, masturbation is a sin. Please, miss me with all that. Thank you. Shewa is in the spirit. Writing sex things, according to what Uche said, and I concur. I read one book called One Indian Girl, and this character is supposedly going down on a female character, and it was so rushed. It was like I thought his reservation. I was like, let me just get this thing over and done with so that I can slide into her and get the main job done. I'm forgetting that not every woman has an orgasm from penetrative sex. Some of us just want to be gone down on, forget my English, but that's not what I'm saying. And then we have an orgasm, and that is what happened to the character. But I did not, it felt like, okay, we started, his mouth is down there, there's no tricks being employed. He just said, oh, he rotated his tongue around her area. I'm like, wow. Did tell me how his tongue will seep into the labia majora. You understand? Rotate. I'm sorry. I know this is very uncomfortable. Amen. Now you already see the way I'm describing it, and I'm not even a writer. I was so pissed, and everything was one page. And the girl came and said, "It's not possible. It's not possible. You can't make me come in 1 minute." Using the way you described it, never stop acting all shy now. Now, the sex scenes. I know why she's asking. Is it a male thing? Is it that they feel that need to hold back so you cannot look at you are being more sexual than sensual? But at the end of the day, it's a book. I need to be wet ever. I need to touch myself. I don't want to wait till a man comes close. Oh, I'm already wet. And then, I want to be able to say, okay, if there's no man here, I'm reading Eva's book, the way he described Netta and Peter copulating. You know, I don't want to use having sex. Copulating. And I'm thinking, let me drop the book and practice what they do. You know, amen? Amen. Hallelujah, sister. Let's see our service.
So I haven't thought deeply about it, but I'm a huge proponent of the fact that whatever you're writing, you need to feel it before you move on to something else. Because only when you feel it to an extent that you'll be rest assured that when your readers read the book, feel whatever you have felt. To buttress your point, if I write a sex scene and someone reads that scene and doesn't get turned on or doesn't feel anything, I have failed as a writer. So in that respect, I have failed as a writer.
No,
but then again, when I wrote Men Don't Die, after writing Men Die, I felt the sex scenes in Men Don't Die were rushed. So I said to myself, this second book I'm going to describe more. I made mention of the fact that this book was actually bigger.
Yeah.
It was actually bigger.
Yeah.
So those parts that have been cut into another book, which were events that happened before the scenes that Uche is talking about when they were in school, I was a lot more descriptive. I was a lot more descriptive. I mean, when they were in school, it was I don't know. Maybe it was fatigue of writing sex scenes, because I had written a lot of it. By the time I got towards the ending part, when Netta and Peter met again. Maybe it's just a mental thing. And I didn't point out, and nobody pointed out. But now that I've seen it, the next time I'm writing sex scenes, Uche, Uche, this for me.
I like this, Uche. You get it wrong.
But thanks. Yeah, thanks for that feedback. And I think it's also a lesson for men, right?
Yeah.
Because I've had people also complain that men don't know how to write women.
Yep.
Even from fashion, from dressing, from how they act. I've heard that complaint as well. Maybe that's why when I'm done writing my book, I just give it to a woman to read first, because I don't have issues writing men. But there's some, I put myself in a woman's body to write some things, and you can also help the fact that because you're not a woman, some things are going to be left, some conclusions are going to be left to your assumptions. So when a woman reads it, she points it out and says, "Oh, I don't think this is right. I don't think that's right."
So
thanks.
In conclusion, this is not you being improved. It's just that.
In conclusion, this is not me, being improved. Yeah.
Because I know that the act of writing.
If the story demands sex, you need to write it, and then you need to write it well.
Because I didn't quite enjoy that sex scene as much as I enjoyed the one with Winnie. Maybe because Winnie was taking charge. Do you understand? So it felt like because she was taking charge and giving him. Was that reverse cowgirl? Which
she writes sex scenes for a living. Yeah.
Shewa, I knew that we were so sisters, but it's good that
she writes sex scenes for a living.
Exactly.
Need to read what this young woman writes.
They say you use 3 pages to describe a man going down. Oh wow! Please, I need the name and link on your website so that it will keep me warm on those cold nights like last night.
I got you.
Yes. So the final question. Tom, I wanted to know which of the characters was your hardest to write, and then how do you deal with writer's block when you are writing your characters? Yes.
In terms of building the characters, I would like to think that there was something special about Jetta, about Chukwujetalom, to be able to write about someone who, even despite all that has happened to him, he still wants that, and he was that forbidden fruit that he wants. It's hard to keep somebody in that space, someone who doesn't listen, someone who doesn't learn. And I think he had a mental problem. But in terms of circumstances, the things that happened to my characters, I say it again, I struggled to write some parts about it. And in terms of how do I deal with writer's block, I don't think there's any writer that experiences writer's block more than I do. Yeah, because like you said, there are different parts of me. There's that part where, want to say something?
I wanted to say something naughty, but continue.
So there's that part where I'm always thinking about financial products that we need to launch, thinking about work, and that can take your whole life. So it's even a miracle that I'm writing at all. I'm not supposed to be writing. It's a miracle that I'm writing at all. Having that kind of job means that you're not going to have enough time to write. It means that you're not going to sleep as much. You're going to have a lot of sleepless nights. The job alone is enough to keep you up at night. Now you put writing into it. And one of the curses of being a writer is that it is hard work. So it's not like how people say, people misunderstand this thing sometimes. I've had people call me up and say, oh, I need to write this, can you quickly help me write this? It doesn't work that way. Writing is work on its own. It is not a hobby, it's like a job on its own. And when you get to that point where you can't write and you have a lot of writing to do, or maybe you're not in that mental space, I don't bother myself, I don't force it. Because when you force it, what's going to happen is rewriting is going to be a lot more difficult for you. Because when you're rewriting, you're seeing some things you wrote and you're saying, did I write this? So it is not advisable to write when you're having a writer's block. You need to be patient with writing. Writing should teach you patience. When it is not flowing, when you're blocked, you just leave it. If it takes you 2 months, if it takes you 3 months, there's no counting. If it takes you as long as it can take you, but whenever you're open again, when the time comes, when the opportunity comes, you get into it. Me, what I do is I just stop writing, and sometimes I just begin to read books. I don't begin to read books. When I was writing Medra, I can remember at some point I was blocked. I didn't write anything, I just began reading. I read Things Fall Apart again. Then I read Michael Crichton's State of Fear. It was like 752 pages. And by the time I'm done reading these books, my head, started opening up in different places that I wanted them to open up. So just take it easy. Move on with your life. Leave the book. Don't force it. You don't force it. You actually don't force it. When the time comes, you'll be convinced that you're open and then ready to start writing again.
Okay, Eva, sorry.
I have a book I'm writing now. I have a book I'm writing. I haven't written anything in 8 months because I'm not in that space. But I have it at the back of my mind that whenever I finish it, I finish it. Yes, it could do that for you. Or you find some other thing that does that for you. Reading other books.
Shopping online.
Shopping online, yeah.
One author that I will not call their names is said. But anyways, it will be said. The endorphins will clear your head. I knew it. An exclusive, you heard it here.
And it's going to be about Abba. I've always known that one day I was going to write about Abba.
Whatever you do, please write about
I can't wait.
Umungasi
will be there, everything will be there. I can't wait to write in that project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You heard it here first. A Feast of Vultures coming to you in 2024.
Yes, 2024. Yeah. Yes.
I can't wait to read the manuscript so that this will be the next first person that will read the portion one, because now she's feeling like yes.